What's good? Just a few things that have been on my mind. Man, marriage is not easy, which I'm sure whoever's watching that is married and, for any length of time or even newlyweds, because me and my wife are pretty much newlyweds, it's not easy. But one thing I can say for certain, with me being a Christian and I seek God's guidance in almost everything. I mean, I'm sure that there's areas where I take my own lead way or my own lead, I should say. But I would like to think that I pursue Him greatly. However, being married and being a praying man again definitely forces me to go to God more. It forces me to be closer to God due to the fact that throughout the situation, whatever it is that I'm going through, whatever bone I got to pick with my wife, if we're at odds for whatever reason, or even if, or on the other hand, things are going really well, so I want to thank God or something. However, I still wind up in His presence, and here lately, me being in His presence was motivated by my marriage for whatever reason. Um, I enjoy it, I guess, to a certain extent. No, I take that back. I do enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it at the time that whatever's happening leads me to Him. However, whenever I go to Him in prayer and I mention my wife, and I'll tell Him whatever's going on and how I view things and how I feel about whatever's going on. Never once that I can think of right now has He told me anything about my wife, like where how I could correct the situation through her, how I could present things to her. Not really. Anytime that I've gone to God in prayer about my wife, about marriage, He's always kind of made a mirror image of myself, or He's always turned it around kind of to me. And what I mean by that is I present Him whatever's going on, but He in return is like, well, you may be acting such and such. You are still carrying some things from the past. You are still, so this whole time I'm like, man, every time I go, he not beats me up or anything, but He makes a reflection of me. And I said all those things to say this. I pray for my wife, and I don't pray that she sees things my way, or that she conforms into the woman that I think she should be or whatever. I don't do that. She ain't a Stanford wife. You know what I mean? But I do pray, that she stays connected with God, all of those things. However, once I begin to take care of my issues and start to mature as a man and start to mature in the faith and work on me, I trust and know that God is working on her. But once I'm getting molded into that thing, I believe that she'll see that. I believe with me focusing on my issues that I will also start to look at the the marriage and whatever's going on in the marriage, whatever opposes me at that moment or the situation, I'll start to look at that different. I'll start to look at that through God's eyes. I'll start to look at that with more compassion. I'll start to look at it through her eyes. What is she telling me? Why is she telling me this? Why does she feel this way? So all of those things, I believe once I start to work on me will fall into place versus focusing on my wife and whatever issues or, her getting on my nerves for whatever reason. Once I get less focus off of that and more focus on me and the way that I can grow, then I believe everything else will fall into place. And so far, it has been doing that. There's a couple at church that that blessed I gained with this book. It's a marriage book. Hold on real quick. I should have brung it over here. Just give me a minute. This book is a very, very great book. And in this book, what I'm talking to you about, how I felt that it's been leading me closer to God, I never voiced that. I've always just had that in the back of my mind. I think since then I have voiced it to a couple friends or something. But at the time, I hadn't voiced that. That was just in my head. And this book brung that up. The book brung it up, how marriage kind of makes you more holier in a sense, and that's what it's talking about. And so I forget what chapter it's in, but they basically say what I was just saying, how it pushes you closer to God. And I thought, man, that's phenomenal. And it made me feel like that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, where I needed to be, that the marriage and everything that's going on with the marriage is part of God's design. So sometimes you'll get to feeling like, did I marry the right person? Did I make a mistake? And all of those things I believe are human. And I also believe that they can be motivated by the enemy. So, you don't want to give them things too much thought and make, bad decisions based on that. However, it reassured me that even though we go through hard times, and I know this, sometimes, you get spiritual amnesia, but I know that, it's going to rain on the just and the unjust just alike. So I'm going to have hard times. In fact, Jesus even tells us. However, whenever you're going through them things, you kind of focus on them, but really I'm right where I need to be. And if I allow the situation to do what God intends for it to do, it is growing me. It is growing me and my wife. It is growing us individually, and it is growing us as husband and wife. So I just want to encourage you that, if you're listening to this and if you're going through anything in your marriage, and I'm nowhere a marriage counselor or nothing like that. I don't have it all figured out. However, and you feel like you spend a lot of time on your knees praying about everything and it's almost exhausting, I believe that you're in the right position and that you are right where you're supposed to be. Other things, I think, of course, we would need help if there was something else going on, something major, but just growing pains, allow God to work on you guys through those situations. Allow those situations, which is hard to do. It's easier said than done, but do your best to allow those situations to grow you guys and mature you guys as into one. And that's really all I got. Thank you.